Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is episode 76 of Shoot the Breeze, a chill interview, a chill time around for you and me. I am your host, HeavyDivider. Alongside me here today is, well, the very chill party starter himself. As a matter of fact, he's also a motivational speaker, a horror enthusiast, as well as a very chill streamer you can always get a chance to hang out with, no matter what he does on hand. Well, we all know for the most part, it'll be quite fun to watch and see what he does. My guest for tonight here is pretty much Manice08. Welcome.
Hi. How's it going? How was your night? You survivor okay today? It's Tuesday, right? It is Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Oh my God.
That's actually the ultimate Tuesday. Actually, funny enough, this is the ultimate Tuesday for you, February 22nd of 2022.
Oh shoot, it's 2022. We did it. We gotta wait another, what is it, 11 years for 333 now?
Unfortunately, that won't happen because we gotta wait 200 years for that, I think, or maybe 100 years before we ever get a chance to get that. Because keep in mind, there's no 33, sadly.
Yeah, there is. It'd be 2033, right? It'd be, because then it would be 333.
But yes, for the most part on hand. But anyway, for the most part, how you been and how's your day going?
Oh man, it's been a wild day, you know. Work is work, all those kind of things, but you leave that stuff behind. You come home and then you bumble around. I got some stuff done, all that kind of stuff. Played with the puppies, all that, you know. Premiere crashed. That's always fun. So I get to do the project twice.
That's always fun with video editing, I can tell you, especially when it just crashes on you when you think you have everything taken care of. But yeah. So
that's great.
Let's go ahead and get down to business with the first question here. How the hell did we meet?
That is $1 million question. My God, was it Vietnam? No, but it was back in like DDVR days, was it not, and all that, and then kind of recollected up with all the charity streaming.
Yeah. Funny enough, it is exactly like how it is, except there's one thing that it just dawned on me too, is the fact that how we actually firstly met was there was a group that we were making called the Fusion Souls on hand, and we needed like the people to be able to help us out on hand for the most part. And one of the people being Classwork suggested you to be a part of it on hand for it.
Oh no, that is a name I have not heard in a while.
I know.
Classwork. I love our classy fam, but I mean, Fusion Souls. That's right.
Yeah, that was.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was a good group. That was a good group.
Yeah, it was a long time ago on hand for it, or so. We had her, but I can assure you on hand, for the most part, the members were released nice. So there's that. Or so. Also,
yeah.
The second time, actually, funny enough, the second time I met you was on Bobo's birthday.
Oh God, that's another. I gotta see Bobo. I miss Bobo Bay. Oh my God. What has she been up to these days? She's been good, right? She's been good?
I believe she's been busy. I believe she's been busy on her side, doing what she does for the most part. I haven't personally got a chance to basically talk to her in VRChat a lot since I've been busy on my own end. But for the most part, she seems to be doing pretty well, so.
Oh, well, hell yeah. That's good. That's good. I gotta take a time out, and I gotta say, I love your hat. I love your top hat.
It
fits well.
It's one of the kind of staples for me. Especially for what I do, or so, you know, it's usually the top hat that stands out, especially with the fact that it looks like it's suction cupped in my head, not supposed to be pushed all the way down. So
yeah, like it's a prop.
Just a prop.
that adds to the character, because if it was just a top hat, then, like, you know, it'd be like forgettable. But the fact that it kind of floats, that makes it more like recognizable. It's like, bam.
Well, there you go.
It's good.
There you go, and I was going to say, too, last time we met, too, was for the Max Recovery Charity event, which was the 2021. I knew you were a part of it on hand, never got a chance to actually sit down and talk with you as well here and there because I was trying to get my own scheduling for it or so, including a 24-hour stream. But I assume you had a nice, fun time with the charity event altogether?
Yeah, the charity event went really good. That went really well. We did a lot of VR. We did a lot of VR on that Monday, and then we had events going on in the Discord and all that kind of stuff through the week. And then Saturday, I did Desert Bus. I did a full drive from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, New Mexico, or Las Vegas, Tucson, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada. There we go.
There you go.
I know my states, but that was over 8 hours of driving in a straight line. It was exciting. Somehow it didn't feel like 8 hours. It felt like 45 minutes. But it went really good. That was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again. We gotta go there and back next time. Have you ever heard of Desert Bus? I don't know if you were there for.
I've heard of Desert Bus, and I've heard Desert Bus. I know it was used for charity events on hand. I will say, for the most part, I was gonna say, did you use the Desert Bus and the VRChat one, or did you use like just the regular one that was normally used for like charity stuff?
I used the Steam version of Desert Bus VR, but I played it in desktop mode. I felt it was going to be the most stable way to do it, and it turned out really good. It was good. I know there was a VRChat map, but last thing I needed was VRChat to crash 7 hours in, so I was like, I'm going to choose the stable route.
There you go, on hand.
Yeah, the bus breaks down.
Yeah, bus breaks down as soon as it hits like a sand dune and all that.
How much money did I gotta check that again. I can't remember how much money the charity made in total. It was in the tens of thousands though.
Yeah.
I think it was like 20K.
It went past 10K,
20K plus.
And it stopped about like 21K, I believe. I haven't got a chance to check on it because it got stretched a little bit more into February for the deadline. So.
Oh, did it? Oh
yeah.
Man, that's still incredible that many people, that many VTubers came together and raised that amount of money for a really good cause. So I was glad. That was really fun to do. I'd love to do. I'm looking forward to next year already.
Yep.
Charity streams are fun.
Yeah, they are. Especially when you just get a chance to do like a lot of creative stuff for it, or just be able to have like fun with your community, to be a part of it and just do like things all together. Is for a noble goal. So there's that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it went good.
Yeah, it definitely went good. So let me ask you this question. That's about your VRChat origins. What got you into VRChat?
Yeah. I got into VRChat back in about 2017, late 2017, 2018. Because I was part of a derp company, which it's a gaming community, almost like a clan. And they were looking for a game where we could host meetings in, like something we could be more like face to face. So one of the other members recommended, oh, there's this new game, VRChat. It's really cool. We can all come in. If you have VR, you can actually be in there. You can be whatever kind of avatar you want. If you want to be a stormtrooper, this is early VRChat. No one had personas yet. All this kind of stuff. So we loaded in and we bumbled around a little bit, and it kind of was kind of hit and miss. Some people loved it, other people didn't. I already had VR, so I was one of the only people that had VR in there, and it was pretty wild because people were freaking out that it's like, oh my god, I can touch you. But then I kind of forgot about VRChat for a bit, and then the Ugandan knuckles exploded, and it's like, I gotta get back in on this. So I ran around as Ugandan Knuckles for a while, and then that snowball just kind of cascaded into like, oh my god, I legitimately love this game. I love to meet people. This is really cool, and got to see incredible stuff, and here I am now as an anime girl, and I get to wiggle my butt around and see all kinds of incredible people still, and incredible worlds. Like this one. Welcome to my home, by the way.
It's very cyberpunk-like.
Pretty cozy.
Very pretty on hand, very bright lights and everything. So
I love neon. I love just the dystopian, like neon feel, and I don't know. There's something cozy about it. It's really hard to explain, but it feels cozy.
I will ask too. When did you get full body in VRChat, if I can ask? Because the earliest time, when Full Body came out, was like 2018 or so, and it was already like a very revelational thing for everybody to see somebody fully walking around. So,
I always had Full Body. Because HTC just released their trackers, and they kind of didn't do anything. No one had a reason for them, and then VRChat came out, and that stock sold out instantly. And then they released a second wave of Tundra trackers back in early 2018. Or not Tundra, I'm sorry, not Tundra track. HTC trackers. They released a second wave in early 2018. And I got on that one right away. So I kind of had full body almost immediately. And it was by far the greatest investment I had for a while. It was, my trackers came in, but my straps didn't, so I didn't have a way to attach them. So for like the first couple months, because the USPS lost my package, I had to, you know, it happens. But I used rubber bands and had them just strapped to me. But you do what you gotta do, you know. It worked out. It was by far worth it. And I was like, oh my god. I think it was one of the first pieces of hardware I ever had that it just worked. And I was so ready to like put them on, pair them, and then just problems, you know. There's like anytime you have new like hardware, new technology that there's no forum for, nothing's been tried and tested yet. It's like, oh god, I'm going to hit the wall with this and want to throw it out the window, but it just worked. It just worked.
Yep.
It was pretty great, and then it was all downhill from there.
And it basically just snowball effect, and lo and behold, you got yourself a snowman. So there you go.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good snowman. It's a well-sized one, but yeah, no, it's worth it. I was gonna say with the trackers, I've been working with I helped dev test the Tundra trackers, which I'm using. They work really good. I'm really excited to try the 10-point tracking coming out here. VRChat's been messing with. Apparently, it's out on like their beta. I think I still gotta load into it and try it, but I can't wait to have like actual elbows and knees. It's gonna be nice to actually, because my knees here, you know, to actually be like lined up right would actually be nice, but it doesn't always work like that.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's just like little by little, the technology will be able to expand then for what we got.
Well, you get used to how your body moves and all this kind of stuff, and kind of artificially create how you want it to move. There's an art to full body. It's for the most part pretty easy, but to do more fluid motions that are more natural, because the VRChat IK it's not perfect. You know, sometimes you do things and your arms flip inside out, you know, and it's not quite right. You start learning like how to have to hold your hand and smack your headset. That's really important. But it'll be interesting to like, oh, you can just throw all that out because your elbows are actually gonna want to track correctly and all that kind of stuff.
It'll definitely help out the dancers on hand for like be able to show more fluent dancing on hand. If they don't already have that now, they're going to be much more fluent over the course of time once that gets implemented. So.
Yeah, with the Tundras and all that, they're so lightweight too. It's going to be like no real resistance, no real getting in the way. It'll be fun to try. I'm excited to try it. I think it's going to work out really good. So
there you go. There you go on hand. So let me ask about your hobbies on hand besides the game. Now, I mentioned about you being a horror enthusiast when it comes to horror games in general. For the few things I have down here, including one of them being Phasmophobia, the fact that you're also a dancer of your own style here and there, as well as a few. I assume you play different multiplayer games on hand, but besides those things I mentioned on hand, do you have any other hobbies as well that people don't know about, or anything that you do outside of VRChat?
I mean, the big things right now, I mean, I've always had a high passion. I get like a runner's high out of creating. I've always had that kind of feeling. I love to make videos, I like to make memes, I like to take pictures, edit, photo edit, video edit, all that kind of stuff. But outside of that, I used to draw a lot. I drew for 12 years about. Where I kind of stopped. I still scribble every now and then, but I had a lot of fun with that. It's really interesting being able to like put down a thought into paper. When I first started, all I could do was like stickmen.
I see.
But like I just started like you start learning like skills like, oh, I want to learn how to do hands. I want to learn how to do faces. I want to learn how to do like body positions and all this stuff. And you start expanding out, and there's something really rewarding about learning how to draw. It's a lot of work, and there was a game I used to play with myself all the time where it was I took a piece of art I was really proud of, and then I'd look at it again 6 months later and compare it to what I drew now, and just look at the progress. And there's this huge, it's like this euphoric blast. It's really hard to describe when you see, like, you actually can see progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it was always a huge hobby of mine, was to, like, how good of an artist can I get? And I didn't end up, you know, like, as this amazing, you know, super skilled artist, but for the amount of time I put into it, from not being able to do anything to being able to basically do whatever, you know, whatever thought came to my mind, it was pretty exciting. It was cool. It was definitely a great hobby. Today, yeah, I focus a lot more. I mean, VR and horror games really are my big passions. I focus a lot on my personal life. I'm married IRL. I've been with my wife for over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a really good ride. So I enjoy taking care of her. I enjoy taking care of my dogs, all that kind of stuff. House projects, a lot of house projects. Oh my God, it is an investment, and I'm glad I finally can get a couple of those big ones done now. Actually, a couple people in my community, one of them, Rex, helped me out yesterday, actually helping me pay off one of my last big repair bills. Oh my God.
Guessing weather affected you or something, or was it just kind of like a freak accident?
No, it was just the house. It's a very old house. The last owner did a lot of repairs and remodeling on it and took good care of it, but the owner before us kind of 100% ignored it. So there's a lot of problems that started to snowball. You know, it needed a new roof. The basement was leaking. All those kind of things. Where if you don't nip it in the ass now,
yeah, it would just be a bigger problem later.
Yeah, you know, you can just start adding zeros onto that bill. So,
jeez.
But I'm learning a lot of house repair. There's something, that's another thing that's really rewarding, is like when you do something and you do it right. It takes a lot of swear words and a lot of, you know, busted knuckles, but once you get a project done, it's like, oh yes,
there you go.
I did that. Yeah, it was cool. But
yeah, I was gonna say, you might as well put that down. You might as well put that down on your creative abilities of basically being like architect, if you will. Just be able to take something like house building and just apply it down.
Handyman.
Yeah, be a handyman.
Handyman. Yeah, it's all that thing. It's that fine balance. It's trying to balance, you know, IRL and VR and personal time. And right now we're actually trying for a kid, so it's, you know, trying to then fit in to be a good dad into that and see, you know, what's gonna happen there. It's definitely an adventure I'm excited for. So,
well, hey,
doing my best.
Well, hey, put it that way, everything's looking up for you on hand, and hey, there's gonna be pretty much just a Manson Jr. in this world, whenever it be. So.
Yeah, sunny skies. So,
yep, sunny skies on hand. So, let me ask you this question on hand. What would be the game that was your introduction into gaming in general? Like, what was your first video game you ever played, or be what is the introduction into what you do now here and there?
Well, I mean, I'm a boomer, so I've been around through the 90s. My first console that I played was my neighbor. He had an NES and a Sega Genesis. So I did a lot of, you know, Super Mario Brothers, Sonic 1 and 2, NBA Jam, Jurassic Park, like all these classic old games, you know. They were a lot of fun. Mortal Kombat, we played a lot of Mortal Kombat. You know, those games that were all, I love how controversial that game is these days. Like old Mortal Kombat, it's like they can't do this, and like, you know, we're playing him here as 8 years old and don't think anything of it. And, I mean, in today's day and age, we don't think about old Mortal Kombat as anything bad in comparison to what's out there now with games. But no, we used to do that. He had an MS-DOS computer. Played a couple old DOS games. My first console though I owned, we got a Windows 98 machine. around 98. And I had a bunch of Microsoft games. I had like Monster Truck Madness, Age of Empires, like Flight Simulator 98, Sierra Mini Golf, like they're all really nostalgic. There's actually a game. It's the game I want to play if I ever make partner. It's called the Neverhood, and it is.
I've heard of it. I know what that is too.
Yeah, it's a very old adventure puzzle game, kind of like Myst, but it's all claymation and stop motion, and it's I don't know, it's really creepy. It's really cool. It's really creepy, and I love it. It's just this huge nostalgic blast because I used to play it with my dad. Of course, I was never good at the puzzles at the age of 8. I more sat there and pointed at things and got creeped out, but I loved it. It's just one of those core memories, and I'm really excited someday to really play that. I think it'd be a lot of fun if I can get it to work. God, I hope it still works on Windows 10.
I mean, hopefully it will. It's just a matter of if it's not like too fragile on hand, like software, just to be able to apply it or so.
Oh, I still have a CD. Oh, actually, it had a spiritual successor a handful of years ago called Armacrog. I should do that. That would actually be really fun.
Oh, there you go.
Shit. Yeah, I should check that out. But I had that. I had Nintendo 64. You know, all the classic Nintendo 64 games. You know, Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, Rush, Battle Tanks, like all those games. Super Smash Brothers, Star Fox. You know, I love those. It's hundreds of hours and many over like late night all-nighters, you know, at the age of 12, playing Nintendo 64 all night with my friends. So
yeah, there you go.
Good times.
Good times.
Love old games.
Good times on hand. I will say too, PC, especially like when you were playing things on PC wise. So, did your parents ever try to give you like the giant, like it's not giant, but basically it was like a plug-in like a joystick or so that you could be able to mess with? So, like originally it was used for like any of the. I'll give you an example. I'm from the 90s as well, and they actually bought me this joystick or so that I play like Sonic CD on the PC with and trying to maneuver around or anything. I don't know if you ever had one of those or so.
Yeah, I remember I had a Sidewinder joystick. You know, it was just basic joystick with a throttle on it and all that kind of stuff. Not like those crazy like people who play like, you know, the like the super intense throttle. You know, it's got like the throttles and the joysticks and all the buttons. It was a basic, you know, Sidewinder joystick. But yeah, I had one. I had a game called what was a big game I played with that. I played it was a game called A10 Cuba. It was a really fun kind of flight sim game where you flew an A10 and it took quote-unquote realistic damage. I mean, today's day and age, the graphics were pretty subpar, but in the time, it was like, this is crazy! My wing blew off! This is incredible! You know?
Yep. And then you had the dreaded, like...
I loved it.
Then you had, like, the dreaded NES being the Top Gun game where you're trying to land on the damn... Like, you're trying to land on the runway, but you can't. You either go too high or you miss it every single time because you don't... I never played Top Gun. I remember playing it... I remember played Afterburner on, like, the arcade cabinets in arcades and stuff growing up, but I never got to play it on the NES, but I know it's a classic. It always looked really fun. I mean, it does. It's just by best or so, you either miss your shots or basically you have one of those moments where you have like a missile lockdown and you're trying to shoot it, but for some reason it's the NES, so usually quality is really subpar, so it's hard to even know what you're doing, especially at a young age.
Oh hell yeah!
So
I love old games. I know there's something just so beautiful about old classic games, where it's like there's a vibe to them. I know there's a mood. There's whether you know that mood is supposed to be there or not. You know, I remember playing like Pokemon Blue or like Red and Blue, the first Pokemon games, and like going around specifically trying to click on every single rock and bush, being like, where's the hidden stuff, you know? Not realizing, you know, that there's guides that'll tell you, you know, like Nintendo Power. I never had Nintendo Power growing up, but, you know, there's like, oh, everything is laid out here. There's no other secrets, you know? Like, if I would have found out, you always heard that urban legend about like Mew being under
under a truck.
The truck. If I would have heard about that as a kid, I would have probably made that my life. Try to see, even though it's, you know, not something you can do, but...
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's just a lot of reminisce. A lot of good times of reminiscing on hand, especially for the old times on hand, just seeing, like, how technology itself is just, like, skyrocketing. Here we are now, basically in VR. So...
Yeah, live as the game, right?
Yep, live as the game. So, I got a couple of different topics on hand here. One of them being now, it has its own controversy in its own right, or so, be it what it is. But let's talk about the VRChat looting. Now, let me put it this way on hand. You and I both know that when we go on Twitter, or so, even if we're not following like any certain people on hand, there's like a certain kind of pictures that just pop up when we least expect it, here and there. Like as time goes by or so, it seems to have kind of like, you know, it seems to like it's been soaring quite a lot lately or so. But the question I was going to ask you is, what is your current opinion on it, as well as the atmosphere that of it being constantly like around quite a lot lately, if not being very, very open?
I don't see a problem with people, you know, being lewd, all those kinds of things. If someone wants to post that kind of stuff, you know, I say really kind of let them, as long as, you know, you're being responsible. That's, you know, that's the big thing, is being responsible. But I really don't see a problem with it. People can do what they want to do. You know, if that's what people want to see, then that's what they want to see. If you don't want to see it, you know, nothing says you have to do it. Nothing says you have to do it. You know? I don't post like anything too wild. You know, every now and then I'll take something a little risque or whatever. I think everyone does at some point in time, but nothing like just wildly out there. How do I want to word this?
I mean, I have no, I was gonna say I have like a brutal honesty policy. So basically, whatever way you want to word it or so, or if you just want to be completely honest for it, go right ahead.
Oh no, I get it. I think the important thing though is it's a balance. There's definitely a balance. Some, you know, if that's the audience you want to shoot for and that's all you want to post, by all means post it. But I'm a firm believer of balance. You know, wholesome vibes, lewd vibes, it's fine. Just you gotta balance it out. You gotta have a nice. It's nice to not put all of your eggs in one kind of a basket, kind of thing. You know, it's nice to be witty. It's nice to be wholesome. It's nice to be lewd. You know, whatever is basically something that is pertaining to good mental health. That's basically it.
Okay.
If what you're doing, what you're posting, is helping someone just forget about life for a little bit, or, you know, helping someone through the day, whether it be a wholesome message, whether it be a simple laugh or a smile, or whether it be a picture of a butt, you know, as long as you're pertaining to good vibes, like a healthy, progressive mindset, I see no harm in it.
Yeah.
Like I said, obviously there does come certain responsibilities of posting NSFW content. You know, if you find out someone is you know, hanging out and having lewd conversations under you, and they're underage and all this kind of stuff, if you're someone who posts that kind of things, you have a responsibility to basically act on it, you know?
Yeah. Be able to moderate what you do.
The internet is a wild place. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
It is. It is also a gray area too, because it's one of those things too where I do believe everybody in the world can express who they want to be here and there. So it's just more along the lines of know to moderate how much you can express, especially considering the fact there are people in this world out there who can't separate, you know, fantasy from reality. And when it comes down to it, basically the amount of you express feels like an open invitation for those who try to, you know, they step over those boundaries.
Kind of a little bit of a digression here, slightly. One thing I've seen VRChat do, especially with full body, and not necessarily for,
not safe for work pictures, but being able to be in a more feminine body, for example. I can use this for example, although I'm happy being a guy, for example, but I know a lot of people use VRChat as a way to express themselves who feel that they were born as an opposite sex as themselves, someone who is transgender. I think VRChat has been a very healthy place for a lot of people to express who they want to be, who they have every obviously right to be. I think that's really important. I've seen a lot of people, where they look at themselves, they can look at themselves in VR in a mirror, and be like, this is me, this is how I want to be. They can use it as a role model for themselves. They can see it as themselves, and I think that's really I think that's really cool. I think that's really amazing. I'm trying to think of the proper word for it.
Able to find themselves.
It's cool, and some people use that actually even not. I know some people use that not safe for work content as an escape. Some people, they want to have a female body and they can see it and they can pose in it and they be like, this is me. I like this kind of thing. I think it's incredible. I think it's really cool. I've seen a lot of people use it to help themselves in a very productive way. So.
Okay, I got you. And I understand that. I understand fully. Because, as you said on VRChat itself, it's an escape, but at the same time, it's also, the thing where people are able to find themselves as a human being, too. Because it's one of those things, too, where... It's one of those places, too, where you can easily just connect with somebody, not by look, not who they are, but by personality more than anything else. You get a chance to know them on a personality, so there's that. But, let me ask you about the VRChat scene for the whole thing. Now, in this current time on hand, what do you think about, what are your current opinions about VRChat as of right now here, of where we are?
I think VRChat, with everything going on in VR, because VR is an expanding market. It is a huge market. I think Quest 2 sold more headsets last year than Xboxes. Which is pretty incredible, not including then indexes, HTC headsets, or any other third-party headsets. The VR market is exploding, and there's a lot going on in it right now. A lot of people use VRChat as kind of their hub. I know there's other sources, or there's other markets coming in, like Meta, that for whatever that's worth. But I think, like, you have companies like Valve coming in and making top-tier games. Half-Life Alyx is one of the best games I've legitimately ever played in a long time. I had a lot of fun with Alyx. It being a VR title was incredible. The VR scene, I can only see it as going up. Honestly, I really can only see it going as up, and I'm really excited to see what it does. I would love Index to come out with a wireless adapter. That would be nice. But it's pretty cool.
I will say, do you find it ironic that Facebook, which is now Meta, was one of the most advanced social medias in the world, and now it's so unadvanced in the sense of VR entirely?
I think the big problem with them is they just kind of really missed the mark. They missed the idea. They're kind of trying to think how to word this. I've never stepped in a Meta yet. I've only ever seen the memes and the news stories, and for the lack of better word, the shit show. But I'm a firm believer that competition drives innovation. They have a lot to catching up to do. Will I ever step in a Meta? Probably not. I'm not a big fan of Facebook or their business practices and
that's
all
fair.
that kind of stuff.
That's fair.
If they are able to drive innovation, if that's what it takes to get VR into more households, more people to fall into this rabbit hole of VR in a good way,
then it's worth it. Now, what happens over there is another story. But over here in VR or in VRChat, for example, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I can really only see it getting better. I know they're working on that big, the Fizzbones update and all that. And I got all my avatars, like the like things that people will be able to do with avatars are going to be huge. The 10-point tracking is going to be huge. I know these are things that have been done in other games like Neos and all that, but VRChat still is the kind of...
It's the go-to.
It's the go-to. So VRChat falls into a category I classify as like an MMO game. So every now and then, like I don't know how often. Let's say yearly. There's like a new MMO that's supposed to be like the big game. You know that this is going to be the the World of Warcraft killer. You know. What was the last one that just came out under Amazon? What was that? New World?
Lost Ark. Well, actually, the current one being Lost Ark, the last one being New World. So yeah.
No, Lost Ark. The big thing I've learned is people will always come out here and make a new game, but if they don't do anything huge and openly expandable, people will fall back to where they have the most time in. Here in VR is VRChat. You know, it would take a company to do something absolutely revolutionary to, at this point, dethrone VRChat, or VRChat would monumentously need to fuck up. But I don't really see that as being a thing.
Unless they could somehow perform like some sort of like SAO kind of thing, where basically we're able to just get our minds sucked into this, and we can just walk around like normal human beings. Then that's the only thing I can think.
I don't know how serious Elon Musk was with that, because I never know when he's serious or memeing, but I know he was talking about full dive. I don't think we're that far. Honestly, all memes aside, like full dive, I don't think we're that far. Like, easy within 10 years.
Possibly.
Like, this concept...
Yeah.
10, 15. Like, will we see how far games have come, and if technology continues to double every 5 years... The concept of full dive is not far off. That would definitely be the end game. I don't know how that would work.
The biggest,
at least like when it comes to I understand like the concept, but I mean like trying to balance full dive and IRL. That I think would be the most difficult thing. I think that would have a very serious consequence of being addictive. Because VR already can be extremely addictive. You know, a lot of people use VR as a sleep aid. People use it as an escape and all this. And suddenly, I can physically be someone else in every way, sense, or form. You can completely neglect yourself IRL and live in a VR world. You know, that's very dangerous.
It is.
That's something I could definitely see as, I don't want to say regulated, but there's got to be like something.
It's also dangerous too, in the sense of like it's a little bit of a life or death thing too, especially when you're trying to combine digital with neural on hand and see how they can correlate with one another while trying to be transferred over from the IRL world into a digital world on hand. Because I guarantee you, one wrong step on hand, somebody could easily just be like, you know, a vegetable. Because, you know, how it integrates.
I was talking with my wife, Miss Mancy. You know, it's like, if FSAO existed IRL, would you dive in with me? And she just immediately went, oh, fuck yeah.
Hey, there you go.
This is where we're living for the next 2 years, okay.
Yep. So. It's like, might as well set up a house right in one of those towns on hand, like from .hack sign or so, wherever it would be.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you about the party scene with VRChat. Now, there's always different kinds of parties out there. There's always different kinds of clubs out there. I mostly don't keep up with a lot of them on hand. The only latest one I do keep up with whenever I get a chance to have free time being 12D Beats. But on your side or so, what do you think about the current, you know, atmosphere for the party scenes on VRChat and how, you know, it's mostly expanding on hand? Because I can tell you on here, if you go to your worlds, like, and look at brand new maps or hottest things, there's like a lot of party maps or club maps that have been popping up lately from different places here and there.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's a lot of clubs. Depending from every aspect that you can think of. There's clubs that focus on live DJs. There's clubs that focus on exotic dancing. There's clubs that focus on taking that farther. But there's other clubs then that perform or that work more on visuals. I know VR. I think VRChat was working on looking how to have like actual like events, like official sponsored events and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's pretty cool. But the party scene is huge. I think within the last couple of years here, the party scene in VR has exploded, and almost in a bittersweet way because of COVID. A lot, you can't, because everything was locked down for the longest time. You couldn't go out to clubs. You couldn't go out, couldn't go to concerts. You couldn't go to any of that stuff. Everything was locked down, social distance, couldn't see movies. VRChat comes in at this absolute pristine time, and it's like, hey, let's go sit in a movie, let's go to a club and listen to that exact same DJ now play in a venue that's not someplace that actually could exist IRL, and we can do it in the safety of our own house. I think that's really cool. In a way, I think it's a lot safer too. I mean, although you can't, obviously, if something were to happen to you, no one can easily get to you, but you don't have to worry about someone driving home drunk. You don't have to worry about someone causing someone else harm in a mosh pit or anything like that. And again, in a bittersweet way, as my voice breaks.
Nah, yeah, all good.
Oh boy, but COVID has been very, very productive towards the VR scene. A lot of clubs, as you've seen, have exploded in popularity. I'm a co-host. I'm a co-owner to Phoenix Palace, for example, which is wildly successful in the exotic dancing scene, the stage performance scene. I also do a lot with Miami Vice Parties, which has loads of live DJs that have 100, almost 100 people in a world. There are multiple instances of 100 plus. It's definitely a really active scene. It's a great place for people to, like I said before, just kind of forget about life for a little bit. And I think within the last couple of years, a lot of people need a break. They need a break from the news. They need a break from, worrying about bills or all that kind of, family, friends. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the party scene is definitely exploding, whether, it be with some content creator, with their community, or whether it be, an event, all those kind of things. A lot of friendships to be made. So,
not only that,
pretty great.
It is. Not only that, it also helped out, if you think about it too, it also helped out like starting DJs too. Like, in a sense, because if you think about it, VRChat has become like this ground on hand where DJs can get their start, or due to COVID and everything else, certain current DJs that do what they do and love can still do it in VRChat and still get like a big, be able to get a turnout and everything.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's always nice to see someone start DJing. They DJ for a club, and I love that. Like, if you're viewing the stream in VRChat, it counts as a view towards them. So you'll see people who are just starting with 100 plus people watching them on Twitter, or on Twitch, and for example, and you can tip the DJ and all this kind of stuff for doing an amazing job. So everybody wins.
Yep.
I think it's a situation where just about everybody wins.
Yep. Everybody wins on hand, and not only that, it just kind of pretty much keeps the vibe going. It just works. Yeah. There you go. It just works.
It just works. But
yeah, on hand here. So let me ask you this question, and what I was going to ask you is, Now, how long have you been a streamer?
Streamer, 2 years.
Just
about 2 years. Content creator, since 2005, 2006.
2006. Damn. That's all I can say is damn.
I've been at it a while. Like I said, I was drawing
For a long time. I got all started in there with DeviantArt, where I was a cartoonist for a long time. I started moving then into YouTube. I went from YouTube. I worked on that a while. I started a bit around when Markiplier and PewDiePie really started to take off. I had a couple big successes with that, and then I kind of petered out, and kind of that all went away. And then I went and I became the multimedia lead for Derp Company, which again is that gaming group I was with. And I was their multimedia lead for 7 years. And in that time, we did a lot of big projects for PlanetSide 2. Well, when that game was, I mean, that game is still doing really good.
Yeah.
PlanetSide 2, like, a little bit of a digression.
Good?
Like Battlefield and all, like Battlefield 2042 and all this were an absolute, dumpster fire. And people are like, oh man, I just want like this big open scale first-person shooter. It's like PlanetSide 2 is still super active. They just had a huge update as well, where they opened a new continent and all this new content, and game's still running good. The numbers are still huge. I can't. After that game, I can't literally play any other first-person. There's been no first-person shooter that's astounded me, because when you get into an open-field fight between like 300 people, and it's just like, oh my god, this is insane. But anyway, I was the multimedia lead for Derp Company for a long time, where we made a lot of content. Some of our stuff actually got featured by PlanetSide, Twitter, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it was a big deal. Then around that time, near the end, VRChat started happening. I got into that, and a lot of people just kind of, I started hanging out with a lot of people, and it's like, man, why don't you stream? Why don't you make content like I used to? I was like, why don't you anymore? You got to get back into it. And I decided to start refocusing on myself. And I did, and I reopened it back up. I rebooted 3 times in my life, between cartooning, YouTube, and now where I am. It's hard. It's always hard to start over.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's what a lot of people.
I think a lot of people don't understand is, it's a grind.
It's a hard grind. Success is a long one. I'm by no means the most successful person, but success doesn't come just in a month.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
I mean, like I said, I've been here for over 15 plus years, and still going. I just
you get a mindset. You just love doing it,
and see where it goes, and throw stuff at the walls and see where it sticks, and here we are. Yep. So yeah, I've been streaming for a couple of years and still fairly new to it compared to everything else. I'm an old relic of the old days of the internet, so I'm still learning everything. I'm a boomer.
Hey, we all learn.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah,
so.
We never stop learning, no matter what it is or so. But
it's not a scuff. It's a feature. It's a feature.
Feature. Yeah, there you go. Feature. Yes. So
yeah,
the question I was going to ask you after pretty much asking how long you've been streaming and everything is, from your days of when you began content creating, for YouTube, all the way now into Twitch, being the things you do, be it drawing, editing, streaming what you enjoy the most, being able to create when you enjoy the most. My question for you is this: what is the motivation that keeps you going?
Oh man, it's just kind of a mindset at this point. I've created a mindset for myself over the years that I'm more upset if I'm not doing something. I feel I've set my mind to the point where if I'm not creating something, I feel wrong. I don't want to say depressed, but I feel like I'm wasting time. I love to create. I love to think up new ideas. I think that's really what just drives me forward, is just this idea of like, I want to make something that makes someone
smile. I make someone laugh. I want to make something that someone focuses on for a while. And I just love that. And I know one of my friends, God Reactor, always gives me shit where he's like, Manice, did you relax today? And I'm like, I got laundry done. I made a new meme thing. I got some pictures done. And now I need to focus on getting Halo 2 done. And he's like, good God, man, just sit down. I can't.
I understand that feeling. I know that feeling.
Yeah, I don't do anything I do for necessarily money. I don't do it for necessarily fame or any of that. I mean, tips are always welcome. It definitely helps, and obviously, and if people want to comment and all that kind of stuff, if you want to join in, it's like absolutely. But I've kind of set myself to this point. It's if I can make one person laugh, then it's all worth it, and that's where I'm at, and I just love creating. I just love the mindset of just always doing something. So
no, I know the feeling on it, especially when you just want to create stuff, and just because for the entertainment of others and everything. And just to put it this way, just as much as God Reactor gets onto you for not relaxing on it, it's the exact same thing for me with Chaotic Fireblaze getting onto me, not relaxing either, just because I'm like, making one clip a day on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as just making videos when I get a chance here. So
I think starting next year will be 2023. I will have been creating longer than I have not been creating.
I see. Damn.
Yeah, so that'll be 16 years? I'll be 32. So yeah.
Damn. I'll let you know I'm not that far off. I'm 30, so I'm not that far off.
That's all right. We're from the 90s. You're right there with me, so it's.
Yep. It's pretty much there on here.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I know we're boomers. Ezekis, we are boomers. So. But got a couple
newfangled internet.
Yeah, newfangled the internet. But I've got a couple of different topics on here I would like to ask you. Now, I talked about the VRChat scene, but let me talk about the VRChat current present. Let's compare here. From your first time being on VRChat to where we are now, what are some of the things you are glad have been changed over the course of time to some of the things you wish have not changed at all? It could be like security, it could be like any form of updates here and there, pretty much anything that VRChat has implemented.
Ooh. Oh. Big things that have changed that I like. I gotta think back to old VRChat here. The performance updates are nice.
Yeah, they are.
VRChat ran, when it came out, it ran pretty smooth. Although it was a dumpster fire behind the scenes, and the devs were running around with chickens with their heads cut off because everything was on fire, and it was an absolute security breach nightmare of your own personal computer, and all kinds of problems. Which, VRChat still isn't the most safe game. It's no safe than any other game, really. There was an update that came out, I think it was the first camera update that came out, where it just tanked the performance. It was terrible. You couldn't be in a world with more than 15 people, and it was abysmal and all this stuff. When they came out with the performance update and they prioritized audio, that was the update where it's okay, there we go. And then they had an IK update. They did an IK update, and it was broken and terrible, and then they refixed it, and that basically got rid of most of the lag problems, unless obviously you're in a world full of 100 plus. But,
yep.
Yeah, that was the performance updates and all that were pretty good. I miss the old loading screen. I really do.
I've seen people mention it so many times.
Nostalgic about. Yeah, there's something really nostalgic about old VRChat, 2019, early 2019 VRChat. It's such a different feel. It's almost like a different game, because back then I used to I always loved public world hopping. It's a lot of fun to meet new people and all that. And I still do. I still love to go world hopping and meet new people. But it's definitely it's a different vibe compared to what it used to be. I mean, a lot of people settled in. You know, they got their communities, they got their friends lists, and all this kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's definitely a different feel than early VRChat. Overall, I think VRChat is in a better place than it was.
I believe so.
Controversially, I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me. But for the overall scene and popularity that VRChat is now, with what they've been able to add to avatars with the 3.0 update with avatars and what they're going to be doing with Fizzbones and all this other stuff, it's a lot better than early 2.0 VRChat, where if you ever find an old avatar that you used to run and you look at it compared to what you run now, or what is available, and you go like, oh my god, how did I do this? It definitely feels more natural. I mean, obviously, you know, modern day still has its problems. You still can have your avatar ripped by someone who's not even in the world with you and all those other stuff, and it's as fun like going on Twitter and seeing your avatar doing something lewd by someone. But no, but you know, outside of that, it's whatever. It's an avatar.
Yeah, I got you. Oh.
But it's, god damn it, my tracking is not like me right now.
No, it's all good.
But no, it's in a good place. I really like it. Yeah, I think that's all I kind of really have about that one.
No, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. And we know for a fact on hand that as time goes by, so it's going to keep being more innovative and basic. It will just begin to change more and more as time goes by, or so, be it performance, be it, you know, update after update. One of the big things I really want, it's super simple, and if there's a dev listening, oh my god, please, but I want the camera to have a feature to be able to lock onto my head. And I know that's like why? Well, it's like, so if you play a game in VR, and if, let's say, you put it behind, almost like a third-person camera that would just lock it, like, so, you know, like when you play Skyrim, and you switch in a third-person view, wherever you look, the camera looks with you from behind yourself. It's, you know, if you turn around, the camera sticks to wherever it is you're looking from behind. You turn around, the camera sticks in the direction you want it to look, where you're looking, but in a third-person camera. You kind of can do it, but if, for example, you know, you turn around physically in your space, the camera is now facing the wrong direction. Yeah. And no one can see what you're doing. I would love a camera that can just lock on to my head bone. And just, I can put it behind me, locked onto my head bone, and when I turn, it turns with me. So it's just always behind me, no matter what I do. Like, God, that would be nice. But it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting idea. I know for a fact VRChat has this, they have this forum on hand where people can suggest many different ideas, and they definitely get to them on hand depending on how much has been, like, upvoted on hand. So I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I'm pretty sure that might have been suggested there. If not, I mean, it's a good opportunity on hand to be able to suggest it as a good camera feature on hand, where it'd be like, you know, instead of being like a default, local, or world, it could be like third person or something. Yeah, like something like that. I know they just recently redid the cameras, and they added a lot of nice features. They added, you know, depth of field, more options. It's just more clean. All this other stuff, you know, it can lock on to you, auto level, all these things. There's other mods that people have done with the cameras. I don't know much about them. I don't install mods. But I've seen, like, people have, like, drone cameras where they can set it up on a rail, so you can do, like, these awesome cinematographic camera shots and all this, and I was like, man, that would be so cool to be able to fly my camera like a drone and do incredible stuff. 'Cause VRChat is a very content-driven game. Whether you are a creator of worlds or avatars, or whether you're a multimedia developer, if you make videos, you make streams,
VRChat is designed as an open platform. It's a Gary's mod of VRChat almost, where the content is made from the people, not the company. So I almost think it's a responsibility of VRChat to give us proper tools to be able to show the game off, because all it can really do is promote the game further. If the game can just give us a safe platform with a wide variety of tools and assets, that's really all they need to do, is based on those things. The worlds and the avatars and the experiences are made by the players.
No, I get you. I feel you.
All they gotta do is a UI. When you really think about it, in the end, all we are is a default Unity cube inside of a Blender scene. You know?
Yep, I see it.
And it's up to us to make something out of that. So
yeah, there you go. And that's how it does. That's definitely how it does on hand.
Yeah.
I will ask you too, is there anything you're looking forward towards, be it like besides be it VRChat or anything you got personal project wise or so, which I will say, if there's anything classified on hand, you don't have to mention it at all. It's just anything you're looking forward towards on your end. So, yeah.
There's a couple NDAs I signed with a couple people where I can't talk about.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff that was in the works of VR. I don't know how far. I should probably get back to them. I gotta see where those are at. I think they hit a funding wall. But there's, for VR, like I said, the Fizzbones update is gonna be really big. Specifically, that I'm working on. I mean, I got my good handful of. I got my Word document of projects and all that I'm working on. You know, meme stuff, video stuff I want to do. All that. There's a couple games I've been waiting for to come out and all that. Anything huge wise? I mean, you know, the usual pushes, the usual, you know, partner push, all that kind of stuff. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's fine. We're definitely growing considerably to the point where it's more bound to happen at this point than not, and it's definitely a road.
It's more of an endurance too.
Specifically, yeah. There's stuff that's really cool that I've been working with Tundra and Tundra Trackers and Tundra Labs. It's been fun to see where that goes, where it continues to go, where I'll be able to help them in the future. They were talking about employment, all that kind of stuff, to be a community leader. And other stuff along with that, where right now I think though they're kind of in between a weird moment where they got a ridiculous amount of things to ship and they got their own little you know, their software bugs they got to solve and RMAs and all their other stuff. And they're a very small company. I've been to their HQ plenty of times. They're not a big company, you know. They're doing incredible things with a very small staff, and the hardware is amazing. But it still needs a lot of love and
a lot of time and dedication to it.
I can't wait to see where they go with that.
So. Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty standard stuff. Nothing too wild on that end. So.
Oh, there you go on hand.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will say if it tells you something about Tundra on hand. It tells you that even with the smallest team in the world, they know how to basically take things and, if you think about it, improv it to where it works on hand. Like, work with what they got resource-wise and make it happen. So, it tells you something.
Well, so their whole design philosophy of it, with everything, because they have their own straps, they have, you know, obviously their own trackers and all this. It's all designed over things people are asking for. They want better battery. People want better battery life, smaller, lighter, with straps that don't fly off your feet when you kick in the air, you know, things like that. And they listen, like, how can we do this? So they last like 10 hours. They weigh like 1/3 the weight of a ton or a Vive tracker. The straps, they loop behind the back of your ankle so you can't kick them off, you know, like all these.
it's a singular dongle that fits all of them on it. You don't fill your computer with all the HTC dongles. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
No, but there you go. There you go. Nope.
Yeah.
What? So yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying that's what I'm looking forward to, is to see where all that goes. And yeah.
Well, like I said, they've got a bright future ahead of them for what they're going to be doing. So, I've got the curveball question here, and I've always classified it as the curveball question because everybody's got a different answer to this, or they've got a specific reason to it. But let's talk anime. Now, it's a 3-part question on hand that I was going to ask you. First question I was going to ask you is, when I say the word anime, what's the first series or movie that comes to your mind?
Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing?
Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing. Ah, there you go.
Yeah. I was like one of my... It was such a core memory growing up watching Gundam Wing. I loved Toonami growing up. Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star, all these classic animes. So those always sit so well. I just got Miss Mancy not that long ago into anime, and she's like, "This is great. It's like cartoons, but they can get away with so much more." Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely can happen.
It's pretty great. So I gotta sit down. We just actually finished season 4 of SAO. We sat down and watched. I want to get her into Attack on Titan. I think she'll really enjoy Attack on Titan. Those are the kind of big ones. My sister told me we need to watch I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. Apparently is amazing. So yeah, there's definitely some good ones. There was one I needed to watch. Oh god, what is it? Angels of Darkness? Angel of Darkness? There was a manga I was reading a while ago. I never finished it, but I guess it was a game turned into a manga, turned into an anime series that I need to check out. I need to finish. I was enjoying it.
I'm pretty sure it might come to you.
It was about...
Might come to you when you listen to it.
It was about like some kid who found himself at the bottom of a labyrinth, like a multi-layer labyrinth, who basically befriends a serial killer to get out. And it's been pretty good. I was enjoying it.
Yeah, there you go.
Reading it and all that.
Well, there you go. There you go on hand. My second... No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say we were... actually, speaking of clubs and all that, before I was hanging out with a bunch of my friends and all this, and one of my friends always runs around as a slime girl, and all of us started coming up with this idea of an anime of a slime girl that follows like the slice of life of a slime girl. I know there's like I Was Reincarnated as a Slime or whatever it is, but it's like, what if it was a slime girl but they were a hoarder, and like they just had this compulsive urge to constantly collect things, but they didn't carry like a bag or something. They just like kept it in themselves, and that was their Deus Ex Machina to like pull things out of themselves. Jeez. Like all this, like how do they shower? They can't shower in water. Oh, they walk through a screen door, and like everything just kind of like flops out of them.
Oh God, can you imagine? It's just kind of like it's kind of like from Spirit Aware. So it's just immediately it's just like, oh, they got something stuck and they pull it out, and it's just like a bunch of stuff just pulls right out of it. Even if they're Slimer, so it's just like a bunch of just like items they hoard just like go flinging right out of them.
Yeah. Like, oh, there's a scene where they get hit by a car or something like that, and they just explode like a water balloon and then reform, but like their clothes obviously aren't back lined up, so they're like, oh God,
Yeah. There you go.
There's a lot you could do with. I think there's a lot of quirky things you could do with that.
Yeah.
But you're just kind of spitballing ideas. But anyway, you were saying
No, you're fine. You're all good. It's just an interesting thing to think about on hand. But my second question I was going to ask the second question to that topic I was going to ask you is, if you ever had a top 3 or top 5, be it anime series or anime movies that you would classify as like your favorites on hand, what would that be?
Ooh, top 5. I really liked Full Metal Alchemist. Was really good. I liked Case Closed.
That's an oldie.
I thought was really interesting. I know.
I remember it.
I love old animes. I enjoyed Endless Waltz as a movie. Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. That was a good one. And another Gundam series was OSMS Team was really good. I think a fifth. You know, I want to say Dragon Ball Z, but like Dragon Ball Z was great as a kid. But I cannot watch it as an adult. I don't know if my brain has just become too ADD or what. I can't sit here and watch them just stare each other down for 45 minutes before anything happens. It's like, oh my god, someone swing! Like,
no, I get you.
I know. I think Dragon Ball Z Kai. I haven't watched it, but I think it kind of abridged it a bit.
It's a bridge, a little bit of a remaster.
It's not okay. So it's not the official anime, but I thought it was way better than the actual anime, and I love watching it. We watch it every year as a community event on Halloween. We watch Hellsing Abridged by Team 4 Star.
Oh yeah,
and it is by far. I wish that was like I wish that Madhouse Entertainment and all them would legitimately take it and license it, because it is so good. It's just so funny as seeing, you know, Alucard as just this jackass playboy.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It's so funny.
I know. It's like it's a cult classic of its own. So
yeah, especially when like you compare it to the actual like anime. It's like the actual anime tries to be so edgy and brutal, and it's borderline blood hentai, but you watch the abridged series and they just completely take the source material and take it a completely other direction, and it's so great.
Yeah, there you go. There you go on hand.
Yeah.
But yeah. Actually, if you think about it on hand, Taka is basically doing pretty well himself, be as a VTuber or so, but I really hope he can get himself into, like, voice acting, which I hear is just, like, the hardest thing to do, because there's, like, so many obstacles when it comes to, like, voice acting.
Yeah. Voice acting is... You gotta take voice class training. You need to be able to read script, improvise. You need to be able to do a lot of different voices. You can't go in to be a voice actor and just expect to just be your voice.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, you're not Chris Pratt. You know, Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt in whatever role he plays.
He's got the luxury.
Yeah. You know, you look at certain, like, the best example I can say is, do you know who John St. John is?
Yes, I do. Duke Nukem.
Yeah, so Duke Nukem. He's also the voice of Big the Cat.
I was about to mention that too. Yeah, from Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, so when you hear like these people who do these roles, and they can go from, you know, like such a dramatic change from, you know, like, I'm gonna eat bubblegum and kick ass, to just it's so great, you know. So there's a lot of skill. I mean, you look at it's kind of like Tara Strong is another example, who has voiced like every childhood character, and you can always make out that it's her, but she always puts twists on it. Yeah. You know, like, she has that cartoony voice, but she's able to do every accent. And, you know, when she plays like Harley Quinn, she's got like that heavy Brooklyn accent. You know, when she did like Timmy Turner, it's a lot more nasally, things like that. But
yeah, it's also one of those things too where you gotta listen closely. You know.
Yeah, but it's always interesting.
It is
for that. I would say. I would love to be a voice actor. It's actually one of my big goals. Is I don't need to be a full-time voice actor. I don't need to make it a career or anything. I would love just to voice a role in a VRChat world, or voice a role in a game. I would love to be in a horror game. If I had one dream in VR, is like, I want to be a voice actor in a horror game, even if it's just a cameo role. God, I would love to do it. I'll do that for free. I am free.
I honestly, to be honest with you, that I'm pretty sure that opportunity will definitely come around when you least expect, because, you know, that's how opportunities are. They come around when you least expect it, especially when it comes to like different worlds in VRChat. Especially when it just gets mentioned around here and there or so. You know?
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
My last question to that topic with anime is, what is the series or movie that hits you close to home? Like, when you watch it and everything, it's just like, you feel it, like, tugging on your heartstrings, or you just emotionally connect to it, like it's related to you.
Oh, oh man, there was. Did you watch the final? I don't know if it counts, but did you watch the final season of Samurai Jack?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I grew up loving Samurai Jack. You know, it was a great show. I always thought, you know, it was going to have the or the series ending where he actually got back and all this, or killed a coup, or what all this, but it never happened. And then, you know, a handful. God, what year was that? 2016?
That was back actually in 2011, actually 2012, actually. Like, I'm thinking, like...
Well, I meant the final season.
Oh,
I don't think it was
the
that
final
long
season,
ago.
actually, the final season was 2020, I think. I want to say 2020.
No, I wasn't in VR yet. I know I was not in VRChat
Okay.
yet.
Damn.
So it had to have been before 2017.
Yeah, it probably had to be.
But anyway,
Mhm.
because I got into that, and then I was into Doki Doki Literature Club, and then I got into VRChat. So it's right before that.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway, besides the point. That ending was perfect. That was a perfect ending to Samurai Jack. It was bittersweet. It left me satisfied, but it was heartbreaking and wholesome at the same time, because he got what he wanted, but he also lost what he had. It was perfect. It really was this perfect bittersweet ending. It was a realistic ending. I mean, as realistic as time travel and everything that happens can be, but you know, it's the moral of the story. You know, not everything works out perfectly, but he still did reach his goal. All this, you know, and by the end, you know, as the camera's panning out, and you can see that he's back home in his own time, and everything's at peace, and he can be at peace. It's just this, like, oh my God, I was about ready to cry.
Yes.
It was good. I mean, the ending of like the first season of SAO was really good. I know that made Miss Mancy cry when like Asunu wakes up, and you know Kirito's there on like sitting on the bed and they kiss. I remember I look over at Miss Mancy and she's got tears running down her face.
No.
And I was like, oh.
Jeez. But yeah, it's definitely it had its piece. It finally had its piece on hand, especially when it was left on a cliffhanger. So that's the key thing on hand. And also, just to answer that question earlier on or so, you were asking about, you know, when did it came out? Ziki has pretty much said the final season of Samurai Jack was 2017, actually. So
2017. Okay, so right there.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
So that makes sense.
Right about there. So it's funny because I feel like it was
I should make a community.
Yeah, I feel like it was recent too.
I should make a community night of that. To knock out the final season of Samurai Jack. It was good. It was good. It was on Adult Swim. They had legitimate violence and serious topics.
Yep.
My chair does not like it when I gotta sit like this so my tracker can.
No, you're all
see
good.
It.
You're quite all right.
This is the official sit in a gaming chair in VR. You gotta sit in it sideways. You know, I'm sitting on my hand rests.
Damn. Hopefully
it works.
Hopefully it's not too awkward for you, but I will say on hand.
No, that's it.
That's all right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so this gets me down to my final question, and I'm gonna bring this camera over to you here, and I'm gonna line this up really quickly so I can make sure that this is correct. Oh, if it works with me really quickly here, because I don't know what's going on with my camera. I think my camera's actually being weird, but I'm trying to line it up to you, camera-wise or so. But yeah. Here, let me just lean back. There we go. But yeah, pretty much on hand, as best as I can try to get this lined up. Here, we'll do that. If it works, damn. This is going to be turned into an interesting thing.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Just trying to get my thing lined up.
Get all the angles, BB.
But yeah, there we go. Perfect, that works. Okay, so my question on hand to you is this. What are your goals and dreams? And at best, what is the best advice you could ever give to anybody? I'm gonna let you have center stage for this.
My goals and dreams.
my overall goal is basically, I want to leave the internet in a place better than I left it, or at least for someone, I want to leave it better. I want to leave an impact upon someone. I want to leave an impact upon the internet beyond myself, you know. That's the big thing, is I would love sometime, somewhere, or in some way, shape, form to be here, you know, in whatever way is left of the internet, or whatever way is left of me, you know, wherever that may be. That's the big overall goal, is just to make an impact in one way or another, as campy as that sounds. But my biggest piece of advice is the road to success is paved in failure, and failure is one of the best teachers, one of the best things that can happen to you to be successful. You want to actively seek failure. Failure is where we learn. Failure is where we grow. So never to feel bad when you fail. You know, even the most successful people fail. They fail constantly, but you fail forward. As the saying goes, a master will fail more times than any other person will try. You know, I'm not the funniest person. I'm not the most creative person. I'm not, you know, the wittiest person. You know, I don't have the greatest voice. I'm not the best dancer. But what I can do is I can always try, and I can do my best to outwork other people that are trying, you know? And I'm gonna fail. I know I'm gonna fail. I will fail again and again, but it's, as another saying goes, it's not over until I win. Mm-hmm. And it's a good life lesson, is don't be afraid to fail. Opportunities will knock, and they'll keep knocking. Don't be afraid to ask what if, because as Mark Twain said, we will be more upset with the things we do not do than we do, or that we do. So it's no harm in trying. There's no harm in failing. The secret, though, is to get back up. And that's the important thing to keep going. It's just whatever it is, you know, whether it be content creation. Maybe you're working on, you know, your physical self, your mental self. Maybe you want to be a creator, you want to be a designer, you want to be an inventor, you want to start a business. Don't be afraid to fail.
All right, there you go. That's actually really good sound advice on hand. Really good sound advice on hand here. And making sure that I can get this. Well, damn, I actually found my right camera angle after all this time here. I'm just so dumb that I didn't realize where it was. But I will say this on hand. With everything you've said on hand, too, being, you know, you're not the funniest, you're not the most creative on hand, you know, with everything on hand, I will tell you this right now, and this is a true fact on hand, especially from when I'm looking in chat here, I could tell that you are loved by a lot of people you have inspired on hand.
Aww.
I can tell you. I can tell you right now, especially with everybody here in chat that is here to support you, and they support everything you've done as far as you've come on hand here too. You didn't give up, and that can be seen.
Oh yeah, no, I've had a lot of failure. I've failed. Like I said, I've been at it a long time. I've failed in just about every way someone can fail. I've had multiple times where I haven't been able to eat. You know, I was in a bad situation with roommates. I've been in plenty of bad mental states. One of the best things I can say is things get better. It can look bad. Rain clouds in your mind can sit and they can drop all kinds of storms, and my hip will go all crazy. But you know, storms pass. You need rain to make flowers grow, and we're not. People ask me a lot.
how I stay so positive. You know, you're always happy all the time, man. It's fine. Like, how are you always happy? And I'm not. I'm not. I get angry. I get frustrated. I get sad. You know, things don't go right, and it eats at you. I have anxiety like anyone else. The secret is learning it's learning to understand that emotions are temporary. Mindsets and moments in our life are temporary. The things that are going wrong now will end. They will subside. You will learn from it. You will learn more about yourself through it. You know, there's no hole you can have in your life that you cannot dig yourself out of productively. So it's constantly pushing forward.
There you go. Yeah, just...
It's gonna suck. It can suck. It absolutely can suck. Been there. But it does get better. You just gotta keep going.
Keep moving forward.
You gotta keep going.
Yeah, keep moving forward. So, before we call the interview on hand, does anybody in chat want to ask Manice here a question?
Well, they're coming up with questions. I'm taking a drink. Do you want a drink? Are you drinking?
I have here. I don't have a drink, but I do have some coffee. Well, I do have coffee here. I do got some coffee here. Yeah, usually it's my kind of thing to be able to relax and just have a little bit of it. So there's that.
Oh, I love coffee.
I mean, it's nice.
Got me addicted to it.
I mean, it's mostly my way of basically de-stressing on hand, even if it sounds weird or so.
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
Cheers, bro.
Yep, cheers to you, bud. Cheers to you on hand. Okay.
Oh, heck yeah, dear bud.
So, Ezekiel. Oh, hello. But Ezekius has a question on hand, basically asking, how many shots can you handle? I know apparently they know they made you drink a lot last Saturday or so.
How many? I never really counted.
I never really counted. I'm a Wisconsin boy, so I mean we're like the drunkest state. There's more bars than there are every kind of place of worship in the state by a long shot. I think the top 50 drunkest cities in the United States, the top 12 are all in Wisconsin except for one. But anyway, I don't know a limit. I really don't. I don't condone.
Yeah.
Drinking beyond your limit. Obviously, you know, everyone has different tolerances. So, you know, it's all those things, you know, learn your limit. Don't push yourself harder than you know.
Also,
I really don't know.
Also,
it depends on what I'm drinking.
Also, I just want to point out, too, which is something you probably may know or so, is that wherever you grew up, or basically whatever country you came from or so, heritage doesn't mean too much on it, because I'll tell you why. It's because my family originally came from Germany. They moved to Ireland. They basically moved to the United States. I am a lightweight. That's
fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Up here, it's a culture. You know, you grow up in a football state. Everything's a college party. The whole entire state is a college party. So I mean, although heritage doesn't play a factor, the overall culture around here, at least where I live, is very, very party centralized. However, I guess it kind of depends on what I'm drinking. You know, if I'm going something light, you can be there all day. You know, and it's not going to really hit you. You know, if I sit here and drink like Kraken or something, I can handle 10.
Yeah, just 10, and then it's just like over for it.
So it depends on how hard I want to go.
So. Also, Ezekiel wanted to say we don't want to accidentally poison you. Yeah, that's good on hand. And also,
no, don't worry. I'll never reach a point where I'm just gonna keep going and pass out or anything like that. I know where my limits are. I call it oversteering the boat, because when you drink, you reach a point where you start to feel it, and you still have alcohol running into your body. It's not been processed yet, and you're going to keep going farther. You know, you don't want to it's like steering a boat. You turn left, you start turning,
you don't keep turning until you're facing the direction and then go straight, because you're going to keep going. You know, I know where my limits are. I know where I feel at the point where I'm like, okay, I need to stop, and either I'll be like, okay, guys, you know, like that's enough, or I'll switch to something that's not alcohol or something that's lighter. So I don't worry about don't worry about poisoning me.
No. Okay.
I'm responsible.
There you go, on hand. Also, to answer your question, Ezekiel, I don't actually speak German. Just to let you know that. I wish I could, but unfortunately, I'm not bilingual enough to be able to learn. Sadly. But Chaotic Fireplace wants to ask you, which is it's a staple question from one of my friends on it, being Cool18, asking you, what would you rate as the #1 game of all time? Like
#1 game of all. Ooh.
Like something like your personal favorite.
Man. Because like there needs to be a cutoff category point.
If I had to say overall best game I ever played that I have the most time in, that I could go back and play again and have a lot of fun, Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark on the Nintendo 64.
But it's kind of hard to say because like you compare it to games nowadays, it's like, shit, well, I mean, I had the most time and I had the most fun with that game with all my friends and everything. Like, yes, okay, that would overall, but I mean, if we broke categories, like, okay, between adulthood and childhood, you know, you start getting like, oh, well, this game I had, like PlanetSide 2, for example, I probably have a lot of great memories in growing, you know, as an adult. Minecraft, I have a huge amount of memories. You know, I was second in command of the GFF server on Minecraft, which was one of the largest vanilla multiplayer Minecraft maps, or servers, in the world. Which was a wild experience, but you know, it's kind of hard to label that down, you know. And I think about, like, I grew up playing when I was a young kid. I played Sonic 2, and I loved Sonic 2. I loved Age of Empires, you know, like things like that. They're different times. It was actually funny. Speaking of Sonic 2, I have one little digression.
Go ahead.
I grew up not knowing Sonic 2's name. I knew it was Sonic the Hedgehog, but the 2 was my friend's copy of Sonic 2 had a sticker over the 2 that said Sonic, and the sticker said not for resale.
Yep.
So I thought, for up until like the age of like before the internet exploded, which I would have been like 10, 12, I thought it was called Sonic Not for Resale.
Oh.
I thought that was the name. Because it looked legit.
Yeah,
the top of it, the 2 is like the top of the sticker was ripped off. So in nowhere on it did it say Sonic 2, like outside of, you know, in the game. But you think 6-year-old me paid attention? Yeah. No, I saw the game cartridge and Sonic Not for Resale.
Well, I mean, it's a hell of a topic to bring up on it and be like, oh, what's your favorite Sonic game? You know, there's Sonic 1, there's Sonic not for resale 2, you know, so on and so forth. Just going down the list on it until somebody be like, what?
In hindsight, very dumb of me.
But hey, at least something to look back on.
Stuck.
There you go. Somebody to look back on here. So,
yeah, that was like finding out Tooth Fairy was fake on that one. I was like, what?
So,
that's not what it's called.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's been putting money under my bed this entire time. Wait. But, let me ask you this. Question from Gallo Cisa, I believe. I apologize if I butcher your name. Understand, I have a hard time reading names here and there, but they want to ask you, why are you such a cute bean?
I like being cute.
Well, there you go.
Like being cute.
There you go, on hand. There's that. Gulaksu. Gulaks? No, that's not what I meant to say. Again, my own words just kind of like fail me at times. I will say too, like I said, on hand, I do have a question on my personal side on hand, that being, your name, Manson. Where did it come from?
Manice?
Manice. Have I been butchering this entire time?
You have.
Damn.
I will answer to anything even remotely close to Manice. The nickname everyone gives me is Mancy, and that's got a story in itself. Manice, Maurice, Mayonnaise, Maniac, Manic, Manice, Manass. It's good. You just yell randomly, just and I'll answer to it. Just bark at me. It's
I
fine.
gotcha.
But ye olde days again. I was basically I didn't have an alias. You know, I was my name and my initial. That was my name, like on AOL and all that stuff. And eventually, I was like, I need an alias. You know, I need something that I can call myself, that I can be myself. And I wrote down like pages of names, just things that just sounded good, things that rolled off the tongue. And the one that always just kind of I kept coming back to was Manice. And I was like, okay, let's try it. You know, and I popped it in to make a email account, and it's like, this is already taken. I'm like, damn it. So I added I added 08 at the end because I love the number 8, and it just kind of stuck.
So there you go. There you go, man.
It's nothing too wild. No really good story with the name. I got the nickname Mancy. Everyone calls me Mancy, and it's just kind of become a pet name. And obviously, my Discord server's called the Dancy Mancy. Everyone calls me Mancy. Is because like early 2019, we were at a Club World. I was in a Club World. It was late at night, and we were all like laying on the floor, really vibed out. It's really late. It was like 4 a.m. and someone came into the world and saw us all laying there. He's like, what's going on here? And all of a sudden he looked at me and goes, Mitt, I know you. Oh my God, I saw you on YouTube, all this. Mancy, I'm a huge fan of like your dancing and all this kind of stuff. And like everyone just lost it laughing at the name Mancy. Because it was at that point in time the most butchered version of my name that anyone heard.
Good Lord.
That one moment of someone, and it just stuck. Then all in the dancing community started calling me Mancy. And now everyone in my community calls me Mancy, and my wife's nickname got Miss Mancy, so it fits. It's a cute pet name.
It fits on hand. It fits on hand for the most part.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue. It just works.
But yeah, does anybody have any more questions for Manice here? I'm making sure I'm saying that correctly because you know how my brain. I know how my brain is. If I don't say it correctly enough times, I'm gonna forget about it. You know.
Oh, it's okay. I'm dyslexic as hell, too. I butcher names really bad.
But, I will say, too, I'm looking really quickly here, I will ask you this question, that being, from, I will say this, from YouTuber, so what got you into content creating on YouTube at the start? Like, what was the interest for that?
Well, I was drawing.
Drawing?
I was drawing a lot, and some of my friends on DeviantArt and stuff they'd post time-lapse videos of them drawing or their skills and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I want to do this too. So I kind of got in, and I started doing a little of that, and I just started throwing stuff at the wall and saw what would stick. You know, I started. I did that. I put some gameplay trailers on there. I started doing a series. This is before, like, Know Your Meme. So I started doing, like, a series called Internet Origins, where I'd go over a meme and talk about where it came from, where it started, try to do research on it. And that did okay. That got a little bit of success, not much. And then Minecraft came out, and I started making a Let's Play of Minecraft, and that exploded. I think my top video still is a Minecraft video, and has, like, 1.5 million hits.
Damn.
Yeah, that exploded, and I mean that whole audience came and went because then PewDiePie got big and Markiplier got big, and I just at that point in time I didn't know how to content create, so that audience I kind of came in, was big for a while, then faded out, and then everyone went to Markiplier, and all credit to them. I love Markiplier and all them. They're absolutely amazing, but yeah, so that's kind of where that went, and here I am now, wiggling my butt around. So the obvious transition from Minecraft.
Yeah.
Is you go, you make your mud house, and next you grind on the camera for a little bit as an anime girl.
Yeah,
the clear progression. Clear progression.
What a transition. There you go. Yeah, Minecraft YouTubers in general exploded at that time. Yeah, actually, they're still exploding now. It's just based on speedruns more than anything else.
Right.
But, I guess the question I got for you on hand is from Ezekiel's here, being cherry vanilla or red velvet cream cheese frosting. I don't know if this is ice cream or cake I'm talking about.
Oh, cherry vanilla.
Cherry vanilla?
Always refreshing.
Okay.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that thirst.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go on hand. I don't think I have any more questions for you on hand, so with that in mind, that will be episode 76 of Shoot the Breeze.